Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your WWE TLC 2016 preview and predictions. The show looks really good, and we do apologize for being late tonight. We had a little bit of a power issue as far as, I guess, there was a power outage that prevented us from being able to do this. That said, though, we are here now, better late than never, and better late on the same day than the following day, and better any of those than never. So here we are. John, what do you think of this show?
Brother, I'm stoked for this show. I mean, that's one of the reasons why when we were debating, like, when we were going to come out with this content, I'm like, no, let's still do it tonight. I'm ready to go because SmackDown Live, even when a pay-per-view or a show is meh, I still think they're consistently kicking Raw's ass because they know the pieces they're using in their stories. They have, coherent kind of thought out plan for their stories, it seems, on the whole. And, execution is a matter of subjectivity, but I've really been enjoying what SmackDown's bringing. And, we usually like to give a pre-hype scale before we unpack the matches. And I'd say for TLC, I'm sitting at a respectable 8 out of 10 right now. I'm really looking forward to the show.
How do you do that, John? How is it that when you bring up a scale of excitement, I have a number in my head, and every single time you pick a number that is almost exactly, if not literally exactly, one above mine?
So you're at a 7 right now for TLC then?
Yeah.
Hey, brother, I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, I'll see how long I can keep the streak going.
Well,
but,
you've been doing it for like 4 or 5 months now, I feel like.
Yeah, the new streak. Watch out, Goldberg. But yeah, good shit, man. I'm really thinking that SmackDown's gonna pack a punch with this show. And given how this show goes, because I've been hearing a bit of a debacle, like, is the Elimination Chamber going to be a Raw pay-per-view or a SmackDown pay-per-view? I'm hoping it's a SmackDown pay-per-view. And
it is! It is a SmackDown pay-per-view. I actually saw a pay-per-view list for 2017, and SmackDown got Elimination Chamber.
And I'm so glad they did, because I want to see Baron Corbin just end of days everybody in that fucking chamber. And yeah,
my God, that would be incredible.
If TLC goes well, I'll tell you what, too, that makes me even more excited for Elimination Chamber, because it shows me that SmackDown, as long as the feuds are great, can really pull off gimmicky pay-per-views. So yeah, let's get right into talking about TLC, unless you have any preliminary remarks you want to make.
Yeah, oh God, I feel horrible. I was premature. I don't know how to break this, but apparently Raw is slated to get Elimination Chamber, so apologies for that.
Well, that's depressing. So that's a settled debate then, because I originally read that Raw was getting it, then I read later SmackDown was getting it, but that should settle it, right? Raw is getting Chamber?
I'm looking at a tentative pay-per-view calendar for 2017 from somebody that they work in media and that they stumbled upon it, and this was posted 2 days ago on Reddit. And SmackDown is getting New Year's Revolution towards the beginning of January, and then obviously Royal Rumble is going to be both brands, but then Raw gets Chamber in February, SmackDown gets Fastlane in March, both brands WrestleMania, Raw Payback in late April, SmackDown Extreme Rules in late May, Raw has a pay-per-view that we don't know the name of yet in early June. SmackDown will have Money in the Bank, which you would expect that to be both shows, but apparently that's a SmackDown show now. Or they're going to just have a Raw Money in the Bank and a SmackDown Money in the Bank. Both shows could be in June, because we don't know the name of the June 4th or the July 9th or the August 6th Raw pay-per-views. But then SmackDown gets Battleground in July. Obviously, SummerSlam is both brands. To be determined name for the September SmackDown pay-per-view. They might just go back to what they did earlier, Backlash. Raw Clash of Champions in September, then SmackDown another TBD, but probably No Mercy if I had to guess.
Right.
Raw Hell in a Cell in October, both brand Survivor Series, and then we're back to TLC. So there is your 2017 tentative pay-per-view. Sadly, Raw does get the Elimination Chamber unless something changes. But the good news is that's all next year, and it's still 2016. And we've got TLC to talk about, brother. And this is a pretty freaking stacked card, if I do say so myself.
I'll tell you what. First of all, I completely agree. Second of all, if I'm the WWE, I'm damn grateful that TLC just hits the 2016 calendar. Though to be fair, I think Roadblock End of the Line does the same because they've got 2 bullets left in the chamber. Nope, unintended. To get the bad taste of Survivor Series out of all of our mouths, particularly you and mine, because I know we just really weren't down at that pay-per-view at all. But this does look like a stack card. I think on one level or another, I'm looking forward to every match. And that's a rarity for pay-per-views because there's always like one match that I kind of check out on. But honestly, I feel like every match on this card, I'm like, you know what? I could dig this on one level or another. So kudos to SmackDown for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. I think really, there's only one match on this card that I'm not super into. And even then, I feel like the story warrants the match happening the way that it's set to happen. So even though I'm not super into it, I'm sure I'll be able to get into it once it starts because of the story that's gone into it.
Right. So with that said, brother, let's get right into this card, man.
All right. Well, let's start with what is probably the least important match on this card, because let's face it, when you've got a heavyweight going against a cruiserweight, nobody cares what the actual result is. Kalisto versus Baron Corbin in a chairs match.
Oh, bro. You know, the conversation about this match was going to be entertaining before, but given that I had to deal with that infuriating power outage that pushed us back, I mean, my venom is at its peak. And everybody knows the only thing good that Kalisto, the only good thing that Kalisto's for is just being picked on and being abused. I cannot wait to see Baron Corbin wrap a chair around his damn skull, his back, and then just land an end of days on the chair. Baron Corbin is going to absolutely murder Kalisto, which is precisely what he deserves for being a nuisance and getting in the way. I pick Baron Corbin all the way. And given a prediction that I'm going to make later on this show, hopefully then Baron Corbin can move up and do better things, because I still think he's one of the best assets that SmackDown Live has, and that's one of the reasons why I was really hoping they'd get Chamber, because I'm still looking for Corbin to have that breakout performance that really makes him ascend to the next level. So Baron Corbin all the way here.
Yeah, I like that, and I agree with that. I think this is one of those matches where when I think about the match itself, it's going to be all about Kalisto trying to overcome this obstacle. And just the way this feud has been feeling, Kalisto hurting Corbin and preventing him from being able to be in the 5-on-5 match was his sort of he's going to get out of this feud. I don't think we're going to see him get much more out of this. I think Corbin's going to win. Kalisto is probably going to get relegated to 205 Live in the cruiserweights. Maybe not, because he is still technically a SmackDown superstar, and they didn't actually put the cruiserweight division on SmackDown, so I guess we'll see after that. And yeah, I agree with you, though. Corbin should win this. This really, for me, this is more a principled pick than anything, because it's not so much that I actually think Corbin's going to win, it's that he should win. There's no reason but win. That said, though, I wouldn't be super surprised if Kalisto did pick up the BS win here.
And see, Ashton, okay, here's what I'm going to say with this. I understand, in one sense, entirely where you're coming from. And you and I, for the most part, where it really matters, are in complete agreement. The only thing is, I got to be honest with you, bro, I think I would be a bit surprised if Corbin would lose here, because it just seems like, and again, if this was Raw, maybe I would even be cynical enough to say, yeah, I do agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But SmackDown, it seems like, even though Corbin isn't really doing much in one way, he does have the instigations with Bryan. He does have, all that going on. So I think, in a way, he's on the up and up. And I don't think SmackDown wants to impede that momentum. So I make both the principal pick and the pick that I believe SmackDown's going to make, and just hope that Corbin gets the win here and finally does something, because, man, is he good. So
yeah, and that's my thing too, is that the mistake you're making here is that you're assuming that WWE sees a main eventer in Corbin, but the problem with that is I see a main eventer in Corbin, and clearly the wires have crossed somewhere.
You know what, brother? You may be right, but I'm still hoping for the best with the Lone Wolf. All I know is Kalisto, he's a failure. He should know better. All that stupid shit. Oh, the meek are going to inherit the earth again. Not if Baron Corbin and those like him, meaning me, have anything to say about it. Get used to being under our boot, because that's never going to change, you pathetic sack of shit. So Baron Corbin with the dominant performance. God, I hate the
Well,
week
it's good
so
to hear
much.
Johnny Scumbag making an appearance on Preview and Prediction. This is
Oh, dude,
rare,
like I
guys.
said, given the shit that I dealt with leading up to this, oh yeah, my venom is at its peak right now. Fuck Kalisto. If you just try,
Okay.
no, never try, you dumb bastard. Taking a chair to Corbin's face. Who the fuck you think you are? The hell you think this
Is that
is?
a PW Gregory quote? Because I feel like that's a PW Gregory
You're
quote.
damn right it's PW. And Paul, I am so sorry we missed you, kid, because I know you'll hear this, because I know you're down with TwitWow. TwitWow is life, you know it. And you know what? Kalisto does fucking fail, bud. That's for you. He sucks. This isn't the goddamn Get Along Gang. This is SmackDown Live. Know your place.
Okay, now up next, let's talk about the only other match on this card that does not have a championship on the line. Nikki Bella versus Carmella, no disqualification match. And by the way, before we even get into this, I just want to point out that a third of this card is women's matches. When was the last time Raw could say that? Thanks very much.
Yeah, and you know something, dude, and I may get some flack for this, but on the whole, like, I'm more invested right now in Nikki and Carmella's feud than Sasha and Charlotte's, because, and I'm going to echo a sentiment that Mark Schoeneman expressed on Twitter, and I agreed with him wholeheartedly. In fact, I think I retweeted the entire thread. That feud should have been done with at Hell in a Cell. So not only have you overly gimmicked the match, now it doesn't even have the credibility of being a feud ender. That to me is just a slap in the face. So I'm over it. I'm kind of emotionally tapped as far as those two go. I still enjoy the matches. I'm not going to pull my pants down by my ankles and shit on the matches.
Let me even add a condition to that. We enjoy the TV matches. Their pay-per-view matches aren't good.
Yeah, they really, really aren't. But you know, Nikki and Carmella though, like, because it's a bit fresher than Charlotte and Sasha, I think I'm going in there with a bit more excitement. And I gotta say, because I noticed kind of a debate, like, how good is Carmella? Where is Carmella? I've been enjoying her work with Nikki. I can understand people's concerns, like, what does she do after the fact? And I'll be honest, I'm kind of struggling a little bit to pick a winner, but I think I'm going to kind of do a mental coin toss here. I'm going to say that I think Carmella's going to get this. I know Nikki got a bad night at Survivor Series, so maybe she's due for a victory and a rebound. So this is a case where it wouldn't surprise me if Nikki won. But I'm actually going to go Carmella here for the victory.
John, it's so funny because we have now watched 2 or 3 different people predicting this show. And first of all, every one of them has picked Carmella to win. And second of all, 2 of the 3 that we've watched have said, I know the popular pick here is for Nikki Bella, and yet everyone that we've listened to has picked Carmella. So no, the popular pick here isn't Nikki Bella, it's Carmella. Everyone is trying to say Carmella's going to win, but I'm going to go with what is actually the unpopular side, even though everybody thinks it's the popular side, but it's not, and that's why I'm saying all this to begin with. I'm picking Nikki Bella to win because she's John Cena's freaking girlfriend, and she's going to politic her way into winning whether it was supposed to happen or not, because Carmella has no freaking power, and Nikki Bella has all the power. And Nikki Bella is probably going to end up being a SmackDown Women's Champion long before Carmella even gets an opportunity to get that title.
I don't know why, but I got this vibe that you were like this close to being like going in and out of Scott Steiner voice for some reason.
I was close. I was not believe how close I was.
I felt like you were. I'm like, oh my god, is he gonna break into full blown Steiner? But you know, dude, that's
you know how when a Saiyan kind of glows a little bit right before they turn Super Saiyan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the glow, but I didn't pull the trigger fully.
Okay. I feel you. I feel. As far as your prediction goes, dude, I ain't even gonna contend it. You know, I mean, for God's sakes, you just laid your argument out right there, and it's hard to rebuke it. However, I don't know if it's a credit to SmackDown's writers or if it's really a credit to anybody really at all, if it's something that should even have credit attributed to it, that Carmella is the popular pick here. You know, it really is kind of surprising when you just realize, wow, Nikki Bella, at least as far as predictions go, is the underdog here. And that doesn't even sound right to me. Like, I say it, and I feel like it's an incorrect sentence. But that is, what it's looking like. I'm going to stick with Carmella. I don't know. Because, didn't you used to have a rule? Like, because I remember back in, like, 2010 or 2010, 2011, we'd talk, and didn't you say that stipulations like no DQ and stuff, like, that's where the babyface usually thrives because nothing they do is illegal, so they can't really be heelish by all technicalities?
Well, the reason is that the whole feud is typically built around the heel being able to cheat and get away with it, and the babyface being too good of a person to cheat because it's illegal and they don't want to get disqualified or whatever. So when there are no rules, the playing field is level. The face can do the things that the heel had been doing, and it's like acceptable,
Right, absolutely, man, absolutely. And I do think it should be a really good match. Getting away from predictions and just thinking about how this match is going to go, I've enjoyed the build of the feud. I feel like these guys have done certainly well with what they've been given. I don't know if I'm more into this or the SmackDown Women's Championship feud, which I've also really been enjoying because Alexa Bliss has really gotten on my radar the latter half of this year.
I think from a story standpoint, I'm more behind this. But from an in-ring standpoint, I'm more behind the Women's Championship match.
That's fair. That's fair. I think I could actually echo that sentiment wholeheartedly. So we know I'm picking Carmella. You're picking Nikki Bella. Nothing more I can say than that. We can move on.
All right. Let's get into what is probably the least important championship match of the four. Heath Slater and Rhyno defending the tag team championships versus the Wyatt family, and it's probably safe to assume that by the Wyatt family, what I'm really saying is Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. And that being said, John, before we even attempt to predict who's going to win this match, my question for you is, will this get a stipulation added to it either before or during the show?
I don't think so, partner. Do you?
I don't know if it will, but it would be really cool if they made this a TLC match, full-blown everything kind of thing.
Yeah, you watch. Like, you'll be right, but you still won't get what you want. They'll make it a stairs match, bringing it back.
Tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs.
Oh,
Suck
my.
Rowan.
Oh, my God.
It would fit too, because the only other person to ever have a chairs oh my God, I can't language right now, to have a stairs match with a Big Show was a member of the Wyatt family, Eric Rowan. Hello.
Oh my God, those connections. How is it you make the best connections with the Wyatt family? Oh, they're in the pockets of the Authority. Oh, the stairs match connection. Always the Wyatt family. I find that suspicious.
Maybe my brain just works overload to make them make sense because they make the least sense.
That's it's quite sad, actually. You know what, though? What's funny to me is you're not wrong, right, when you call this the least important championship match. But for me personally, I would call it one of the more fascinating ones because I have to give SmackDown credit that Randy Orton is even still running with the Wyatt family. Like, I thought the turn would have happened, honestly, at Survivor Series. And then when that didn't happen, when actually Randy sacrificed himself so Bray could get the winning pin, I'm just like, okay, we're really doing this. And I guess and then when you realize they're competing for the tag titles together, I'm just prepared to take a deep seat on this. I wonder if this is going to be, now I don't want to be hyperbolic, but you really do have to wonder if this is going to be like a full-blown WrestleMania angle or something, since we're getting ready to have that turn of the season, and really get started down the road to WrestleMania. I am picking Randy Orton and Bray here. I don't think Randy would turn on Bray. I do think they're going to win the tag titles. I just don't know who they drop them to. I mean, the automatic default option would be Alpha, which they may. I heard their SmackDown match was really good. I should go back and watch it in full. I only saw the highlights. But, yeah, I mean, the prospect of Randy and Bray holding the tag titles is one of intrigue for me. And oddly enough, it would be Bray's first championship in the company. At least under the Bray Wyatt character. I don't think he won any gold as Husky Harris. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Bray and Randy, and I'm actually enjoying this. I mean, Bray got to win at Survivor Series. He may win again here. I'm always tentative with my excitement for Bray when he has momentum, But, you know, Randy actually adds a credibility to the Wyatt family that I think is fucking awesome. Like him, Luke, and Bray. It just sounds badass to me, and I'm enjoying the ride. So Wyatt family for the win.
Oh man, I want to agree with you so much, but I have a new philosophy that has always worked for me, and that is to anytime Bray Wyatt is in a championship match, bet against him. So I'm going to go with Slater and Rhyno to retain.
And you know what, man? That's fair. I just got done saying, and I even said this when Survivor Series went off the air.
Oh, I just thought of something.
Yes.
The reason this isn't a stipulation match is so that we can have a disqualification so that they can retain and not have to face the Wyatts again.
Okay, so you're still going with Slater and Rhyno, Beauty and the Man Beast, retaining the tag titles.
Not necessarily to win the match, but to retain. And I think Luke Harper is going to cause a disqualification that's going to piss Bray and Orton off to the point that they might even kick him out of the family.
And you know what? I mean, to me, again, that makes sense. And hey, that works.
Dude, I don't know if you've watched SmackDown from this week, but they really played up that Harper was like the weak link of the Wyatt family, and Orton straight up even asked him, like, are you behind us or not? And like they're really teasing tension with Harper in the family. So I think Harper's going to end up unintentionally screwing Bray and Orton out of the tag titles.
And you know what, dude? That prediction, God, that's so intelligent because it works on multiple levels. On one, because I think you and I could both agree, on paper, this tag title match looks incredibly lopsided. You know, like it's almost a gimme, right, that Bray and Randy would win. So that protects Heath and Rhyno, you know, with them losing, but not necessarily losing the gold. Secondly, if we're thinking that Randy is playing one of the best long cons in recent memory, you start planting the seeds of doubt that, oh, Luke Harper's the problem, Bray. If we get rid of him, we'd be perfect. Luke Harper gets rid of, nobody's there to protect Bray, so Randy can have him all to himself to just beat the shit out of him.
I think that's the direction they're going with this. I think the direction they're going with this is Orton joined the family to break it up from the inside out, and once he feels that they are sort of satisfactorily fractured, I suppose you could say, he's going to attack Bray and go for the head of the snake.
Yeah, and you know something else? Like, I think this could be potentially good for everybody. And the only reason I say that is, again, I'm digging SmackDown. I like the way they write their shows, the pacing, how everybody's utilized and everything. So Harper having another singles run on SmackDown, I can get behind that a little bit. Bray getting caught in a mousetrap yet again. You know, we'll see how it goes. But I mean, you know, I'm just curious how this angle will play out. And honestly, the logic bomb you just dropped was so good and so alluring. I'm almost tempted to jump ship because I know we've done this before. What's my ratio of success jumping ship to how you think? I think
literally it's less than 0, I think.
Yeah, it's never really been good for me. So you know what? Respectfully, I think I'm going to stay in my boat.
Yeah, you're totally getting this one right, just because, again, every time you've ever jumped ship, it didn't work out.
And again, I don't mean it against you, man. Like, I love how your mind works. It's just looking at I think you more than anybody can appreciate me appreciating percentages. So I'm just gonna stay in my boat.
Yes, that's why I'm encouraging you to stay in your damn boat.
I'm just gonna curl up in my ball with my magazines and just be like, no holes. We're gonna come in this boat. But yeah, I mean, dude, let me just say this in all sincerity. If you're right, that is a delicious plate of crow because to me, I couldn't even fault SmackDown for that because it really is logical when you think long-term, how is Randy going to ensnare Bray Wyatt? Well, you cut off the support system. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if they did Bray and Randy at WrestleMania and Randy would probably get the win. So yeah, I mean, that makes all the sense in the world, but I don't know. I'm just going to stick with Bray and Randy for now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, I think we've had a pretty nice little discussion about that. So let's move on to the women's championship match, Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. And I know that there is, a chance of Bliss winning this, but I'm fairly confident that Becky is retaining here.
Another disagreement. I actually think Becky Lynch is going to win the title here. Or no, excuse me, Alexa Bliss is going to win the title here. Because, I'm
shocked.
I think the table stipulations solely exist to protect Becky Lynch. so that she won't have to get pinned or submitted. I do think Alexa Bliss is going to walk out with that.
That's what they did with Cena and Sheamus too. Oh God.
Yeah, they did. And I think, and now
but
again,
when have they ever cared about protecting Becky Lynch? She's lost matches even as champion.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I just think they know, like, she is kind of, well, I mean, Nikki Bella, but she didn't get to compete at Survivor Series. In a way, like, she is really over babyface Becky Lynch and kind of the leader, to me, of the SmackDown's women division. Again, screw off Nikki Bella. And they may want to protect her. I don't know. Like, the moment I knew it was going to be a tables match, I'm like, oh, because you don't have to pin anybody or make them submit, and there'd be less controversy.
But for what it's worth, you didn't watch SmackDown, so you might not know this, but during the contract signing, Bliss put Becky through a table.
Yes, I actually did see that clip. And see, here's the thing, right? And this is where I'm going to be a hypocrite and I will own my shit, because I know what the argument is. Oh, you good?
I think so.
You look bad on TV, you win at pay-per-view. But when I think about Sheamus and Cena's build-up, which you brought up initially, Sheamus seemed like he was putting somebody, including Cena, through a table every week and, like, really dominant because, could the rookie actually do this? So I don't know which logic to go with.
That was also like 7 years ago, though.
Hey, you brought it up first, man. So you must think 7 years ago isn't late enough. All right. But I don't know what to go with here, because on the one hand, again, I do think stipulations like this are a way to protect a babyface champion, because again, they don't eat pins and they don't eat submissions. On the other hand, though, to your point, and to be fair, Becky Lynch most recently ate the table, which, again, though, if you really wanted to split hairs and you really wanted to be difficult, you could say, oh, well, they only did that so she'd go into the pay-per-view with a weakness, and that would be even more protection because then the heel could capitalize on said weakness. So I don't know what to do. The moment it was announced as a tables match, my gut said title change.
I can't. I'm not changing my mind. You're not changing your mind. I think we're set.
Yeah, Alexa Bliss for me, Becky Lynch for you. We'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm sticking with Becky. You're sticking with Bliss. This is going to be a really interesting show. But then we have our final two matches, starting with the Intercontinental Championship match, The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler in a ladders match. And I've actually seen quite a few people predicting Dolph Ziggler to win the title back. But John, I want to know what you pick.
And actually, dude, I'm going to agree with that chorus. And
my God, we disagree about everything. I am so screwed because I'm going to get every one of these wrong and you're going to get them all right.
Or you could get every one of them right and I could get every one of them wrong. One of these is
what are the odds of that, though?
Pretty high, actually.
No.
My thing is, two reasons why I'm picking Ziggler. One, they're building this up as, like, the final kind of encounter between these two, and I don't know, I think they're just going to go with the babyface, so it's more of a general thing. But more specifically, because I think Corbin is winning the chairs match, and because he's really been getting on Bryan's case, I think Corbin is finally getting ready to get promoted or demoted, depending on how you look at it, to the IC Championship picture, which means, yes, we will be seeing Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler feud yet again. But for that to happen, Dolph has to uphold his side of the bargain. So I am picking Dolph Ziggler to regain the IC Championship, which, let me just say this too, I'm personally rooting for Miz. I think he makes a far more interesting champion than Ziggler. I have been loving Miz's work this year. And I want him to keep the belt. I just don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. So Dolph's going to win, get an inflated sense of self. Like, maybe I really am really good. No, Dolph. No, Dolph. You're just the best charity case that's ever existed in WWE history. And they jerk themselves off to Make-A-Wish more than anybody else. That's really saying something, Dolph, that you are the ideal object of charity. But yeah, he wins.
You know what? I'm going to pick Miz to retain, and I think that after the result of the main event tonight, that the loser of the main event match tonight that we predict in like 2 minutes will be chasing the Miz and the Intercontinental Championship.
You know what? And that's an intriguing prediction. And I don't even mean that to be like, oh, well, that's interesting, Ashton. Like, that's ever going to happen. Because I could see that.
Like, oh, mix windows.
Exactly. Like, I could see, because SmackDown, at least when early on, like after the draft, I felt like people that, like, in fact, Dolph was such a case, because he was in the WWE Championship picture at SummerSlam, but then when he lost that match and he lost the chance for a rematch, he did move down to the Intercontinental title. So maybe SmackDown does believe in that kind of a system. So it's not that far-fetched, given that there's a precedent there. So I'm not going to disparage that at all. So there you go.
All right, so I am officially picking Miz to retain. You are officially picking Ziggler to win the Intercontinental Championship. And we can move on to our next prediction, our final prediction for this show, the WWE World Championship match between AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose, TLC.
I'm just going to cut to the chase, and I'm going to say what I've been saying for a while, and I'm actually surprised how many people echoed my sentiments. Not saying I got there first, but I know it was an original thought I had. AJ Styles to retain because of a James Ellsworth heel turn. I think he's turning heel on Dean Ambrose. So, yeah, AJ Styles is going to retain. I really hope he goes into Mania with that belt, but I'm a little worried about his reign come Rumble, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It's TLC right now. I think this main event's going to kick ass. I think these guys are the type where for me personally, they've never had a bad match. I enjoy their interactions with each other. And I think with a stipulation like this, they could get really creative and inventive with their spots and do like a lot of fun stuff. So I think it's going to be a stellar main event, which AJ Styles has been pumping out with ease this year, by the way. He's been killing it as far as churning out pay-per-view quality matches when the lights are on bright. So I'm thinking AJ Styles to retain, continue his run. How would I feel about an Ellsworth heel turn if I'm right? It's really weird if I'm right that WWE goes to this decision, because he does seem like a pretty over babyface, but I think the crowd will probably pop pretty big just to see Dean Ambrose beat the shit out of him if he does go full-blown heel. So, yeah, AJ wins via Ellsworth heel turn. What about you, partner?
I do not think that Ellsworth is turning heel anytime soon, if ever, because I think James Ellsworth is the new Hornswoggle, and it took like close to a decade for them to finally decide that Hornswoggle could use a heel run after his initial face turn. So I think that AJ is retaining, but I don't think it's going to have anything to do with Ellsworth. I think it's just going to be a normal, clean, beginning to end match. No shenanigans. Obviously, Ellsworth is going to try something. I think AJ will take him out of the picture before he gets a chance to ruin anyone's day.
You know what, dude? Here's the thing. And
you know what? Ellsworth might not even show up, because he might just be dead after that Styles clash he took on the floor.
Yeah, and you know what? That may have been, Ashton, like hearing you say that may have been the exact reason why they had the beating be as vicious and that Styles clash off the steel steps, because they said, look, this is TLC. It's a big time stip. It's the main event. We don't want any shenanigans or this and that. I mean, at least no shenanigans that really don't involve tables, ladders, or chairs. I mean, that could be, because I've heard from two camps, and I like that you've been different with a lot of your predictions, because I've heard, like me, oh, Ellsworth's turning heel. I've even heard from some people, oh, well, Ellsworth will mean well, but he'll cost Dean Ambrose, and Dean will turn heel. You're the only one that's like, no, you know what? They're going to have a straight-up main event. And are you picking AJ to retain, by the way? I didn't know if you said that or not.
Yes, sir, I am.
Which, look, if you're right about this, right, I could kiss SmackDown on the mouth if it had a face, because that would just make AJ look fantastic. In a match with no shenanigans, the heel still finds a way to win, because in AJ's own words, he's a winner, and winners always find a way to win. So I would personally love that. But as far as objectively looking at the situation through my own lens, I think Ellsworth is going to play a role here, because he has every other time. And even though he should be dead given the beating he got, I mean, I will not deny that, he's probably going to come out in like either a full body cast or like a really big neck brace and try and get involved anyway. So I'll stand by my pick, but I actually hope what you just said happens, because I would just love a straight up TLC match between these two. I think that'd be insane.
Yeah, I hope it happens too.
Absolutely. So, partner, with that said, I got to say, this discussion, especially all the disagreements, has kind of instilled in me a sense of intrigue about this show. So I think I'd bump my interest up at least half a notch. I won't be hyperbolic and say, oh, it's a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. I'd say I'm sitting at a very attractive 8.5 after this, and I'm really intrigued about
the outcome. That might add a little bit of intrigue.
Sure.
I think, based on the way that this match has been built up, there is a chance, and I'm not saying it's like a near zero chance. I mean like 15-20% chance that Dean Ambrose wins this match and walks away with the world title.
Really?
And you want to know why?
Why?
Because then AJ will win it right back at the New Year's Revolution pay-per-view in early January.
Wow, AJ Styles, 2-time WWE champion. It's so weird even saying that because I didn't even expect him to get this initial run. You never know, dude. You never know. I mean, they may, because here's the thing. If this pay-per-view turns out to be very heel-heavy, like Bray and Randy winning the tag titles, Miz retaining the IC title, Bliss winning the SmackDown Women's title, they may have, for the main event, the babyface and Ambrose come out on top to send the crowd home happy. Yeah. So if the flow of the pay-per-view would be heel heavy, I would probably say to you in live reactions, oh shit, Ashton, it's happening. Ambrose is winning the title.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if all of my predictions come true, which really the odds are slim to none, but if I get lucky and my predictions all come true, I am predicting Becky, Nikki, and Slater and Rhyno to all win their matches. So then it would be, kind of down the middle, kind of a toss-up. If your predictions come true, though, I think the only face that you picked to win was Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Damn. And you know what, though? Like, I like Dean, because I know a lot of people have been like, oh, I'm bored with Dean. I'm not. I still like Dean. I'm still into Dean, but like AJ has been killing it, man. Like, I'll be comfortable with his run ending at WrestleMania, but that's where I'm adamant. Like, it should end at WrestleMania. Yeah, I just want to see him go, like, everywhere with that title and then drop it to John Cena, really John Cena getting that big win, getting that monkey off his back. And I think for AJ being a heel, that's what being a heel is all about, is giving that babyface that moment and doing it knowing you had all this heat and all this credibility. So I want to keep riding the AJ wave, but you might be right. I mean, I don't know. So we'll see. But, man, AJ's been killing it as champion, and I hope he hangs on to it.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest reason that I'm putting that out there is because I just have like a gut feeling that Ellsworth, if he does show up in this match, he is going to do for Dean what Dean has done for him 3 times now, and that's help him beat AJ Styles.
Yeah. I mean, that very well could happen. And at the same time, and another reason why I pick AJ to retain, because let's not forget, James Ellsworth does have a guaranteed world title match. And I think they're going to want to make that against AJ so AJ can finally put to bed that he can't beat James Ellsworth and finally get that win, which nothing about what I just said even sounds right. I feel the urge to vomit, but I do think, AJ is going to want to square away that business too. And what better way to do it than with the WWE Championship over your shoulder? So, I mean, I'm picking up what you're laying down, but I think the logic really goes both ways in this case. So we'll see.
Yeah, so I'm still going to officially pick AJ, but know that I'm a lot more apprehensive about this than most people are.
Yeah, and I don't blame you. It's WWE. If you don't have tight butthole whenever you talk about a pay-per-view, you're doing it wrong. Because
especially when you talk about a pay-per-view where something good could come to an end, because that happens a lot.
Exactly. It really does. WWE, then, now, forever, where your dreams come to die.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so I'm going to call that a wrap. If you have anything else that you want to add, go ahead. But other than that, I think we're ready to close this out.
No, I'm really looking forward to this show. I think live reactions is going to be so much fun because, doing it live always makes it that much better. I can't wait for all you guys to join us. And yeah, let's start down on the road to TLC. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. TLC is this coming Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's 7 Central, 6 Mountain, or 5 Pacific. Or if you're in the UK, it's 1 a.m. But you already knew that. And that'll be when we go live for live reactions, assuming we don't have any more technical difficulties, because seriously, we're sick of them right now.
Yes, yeah, I'm really just wanting this week to be over because this was the week of technical difficulties. They can all blow me, and let's just have fun at TLC live reactions, hopefully, and then we can begin the week anew. So good stuff.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you all for TLC live reactions on Sunday. Stay tuned.